Endocrine. The hypothalamus makes hormones that will be stored and secreted by the posterior pituitary, regulate the anterior pituitary. The pituitary gland is a small sac comprised of a posterior lobe and an inferior lobe. The posterior lobe stores hormones that arrive ready made from the hypothalamus, while the anterior lobe secretes its own hormones. The two main hormones that are produced by the hypothalamus to be secreted by the posterior pituitary are called oxytocin and the antidiuretic hormone, or ADH, also called vasopressin. Oxytocin stimulates uterine contractions during labor and is also involved in the release of milk during breastfeeding. Antidiuretic hormone, which is the ADH, stimulates the kidneys to reabsorb water, inhibiting urine formation during times of low blood pressure, thus helping the body avoid dehydration. The anterior pituitary makes a secretes 6 hormones that regulate other endocrine glands. These hormones are the growth hormone, prolactin, follicle stimulating hormone. Growth hormone promotes the growth of skeletal muscles and bones and directs cells to metabolize fat. Prolactin, which stimulates milk production in the mammary glands of the breast. Follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone regulate the gonads. The FSH stimulates follicle development in ovaries and the production of sperm and ova. The LH triggers ovulation of an egg cell in females and testosterone production in males. Thyroid stimulating hormone, which is the TSH, or the thyrotropic hormone, which influence the growth and activity of the thyroid gland. Adrenocorticotropic hormone, which is the ACTH, which regulates the activity of the adrenal cortex to secrete glucocorticoids. Next, let's look at the thyroid gland that produce thyroid hormone, which is actually 2 hormones, thyrosin, T4, and triiodothyronin, T3. This is a small hormone that affects almost every cell in the body by increasing metabolism, regulating tissue growth, and maintaining blood pressure. The thyroid also makes calcitonin, which lowers the blood calcium levels. Next up are the parathyroid glands that secrete parathyroid hormone, which raise the blood calcium levels. Calcium levels are involved in cell signaling, among many other things. Then there are the adrenal glands, which are each comprised of an inner adrenal medulla and an outer adrenal cortex. The cortex synthesizes a wide variety of steroid hormones called corticosteroids. Mineralocorticoids like aldosterone regulate ion concentration like sodium and potassium. They also stimulate the kidneys to regulate water and electrolyte balance. Glucocorticoids like cortisol and cortisone influence metabolism by keeping blood glucose levels consistent, and they also maintain blood pressure by influencing vasoconstrictors. Glucocorticoids help resist long-term stressors by increasing blood glucose levels and have anti-inflammatory properties. And gonadocorticoids are sex hormones like androgens, which are typically converted into testosterone and estrogen. The adrenal medulla, on the other hand, synthesize catecholamines like epinephrine and norepinephrine. These are prepare the body to deal with short-term stress or fight or flight during emergency situations by increasing heart rate, blood pressure, and blood glucose levels, which are good of evading danger. Thymus produce thymosin, which matures some types of WBCS and important in developing the immune system. Then there is the pineal gland, found in diencephalon of the brain. This produces melatonin, which helps regulate the circadian rhythm, which involves the body sleep-wake cycle. The pancreas, which produce insulin and glycogen, which are antagonists that maintain blood sugar homeostasis. Insulin is released when blood glucose levels are high. It reduces blood glucose levels, or glycogen is released when blood glucose levels are low. It stimulates the liver to release glucose to blood, thus increasing blood glucose levels. Finally, the gonads produce sex hormones. The ovaries produce estrogen and progesterone, whereas the testes produce several androgens. The most important is testosterone. Estrogens stimulate the development and maintenance of secondary female sex characteristics and matures the female reproductive organs. Which progesterone, estrogen also promote breast development and regulate menstrual cycle. Progesterone promotes growth of uterine lining and preparation of the implantation of an embryo in uterus, and helps prepare breast for lactation. Androgens support sperm formation and the development and maintenance of male secondary sex characteristics.